As the self-proclaimed cleric of chaos, the philosophy Havik holds is extremely straightforward. It's total, overwhelming anarchy. This video, we're going to take a deep dive into what makes the Mortal Kombat character Havik really tick when it comes to his particular brand of chaos, as well as explore his very strange power set. Havik comes from the realm of chaos, where the residents there worship, you guessed it, chaos. They speak backwards, both in their meaning as well as their speech, meaning speaking to them is a constant test of faith whether or not the information they're giving you should be trusted or not. Havik, however, rarely, if ever, speaks this way. He doesn't really speak backwards. He always speaks normally, though what one may consider an untruth or a lie, Havik considers just the way of chaos. Like when he promised to train Shujinko, but in practice, actually tried to finish him.
You have converted the Satan Guardsmen to the ways of chaos. They shut down their facilities and came here for guidance. I proposed to them a mission in their home of Satan, the realm of order. They have already embarked on the quest. I thank you for your assistance.
You said you would show me the way of chaos if I were to free their minds.
As if I would honor a deal? You should know better than to bind a man of chaos to his word. I will free myself of this oppression. Fight. Well done.
Well done? You tried to kill me.
Nonsense. How could I teach you the way of chaos if there was an agreement, a structure to the lesson?
Oh, I think I understand. I was learning from the unpredictable nature of experience, not from a structured tutorial. I did not realize you had no intentions of harming me when you attacked, and therefore I learned to adapt to what I perceived to be a real threat.
You are correct, except I would have killed you if you had given me the chance. I was quite serious. Because you have survived my assault, however, I give you this key to an ancient labyrinth. May it unleash chaos upon your journey.
Havik's idea of chaos leans heavily into nihilism. Nihilism is a philosophy that asserts life is without objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value. It can be seen as radical skepticism that denies the existence of moral truths, knowledge, and universal values, often leading to a pessimism of a rejection of traditional social, traditional political, especially in the case of Havik, with his hate for Sado, the realm of order, as well as religious structures. Different branches of nihilism include existential nihilism, which focuses on the meaninglessness of life, which is something Havik heavily believes in, and moral nihilism, which denies the existence of moral truths, which Shang Tsung actually represents, but that's a different topic for a completely different video. Havik will go to great lengths to ensure that if there must be a governing body, it should be one in which the ruler governs in a fashion that has the most disorganization and most disarray. One in which someone can be comfortable one moment and then their lives completely upended and vastly changed in another. Which is why on the brink of Onaga taking over, in Havik's non-canon ending, he makes sure to install Shao as Khan instead of Onaga.
The others had defeated the Dragon King, but left his broken body unattended on the floor of his throne room. Not long ago, a similar fate had befallen his former advisor, Shao Kahn. Havik ripped the still warm heart from the carcass and consumed it, thus absorbing Onaga's power to reanimate the dead. Had the Dragon King succeeded in his plans for total domination, the never-ending turmoil of life would have come to a stifling halt. Those who defeated him believed that the realms were at rest once more, but Havik vowed to restore the chaos that once ravaged Outworld. Shao Kahn would rule again.
In Mortal Kombat 1, the less extreme version of Havik also did the same to the Realm of Order with the help of Rain.
Quan Chi's defeat had cost me everything. For months I had furthered his plot, and now I had to start over. Saido's people were still in chains. That's when Rain approached me. On the run from Empress Melina, he was desperate for help. And though I'd had my fill of sorcerers, this one was different. I agreed to provide him safe haven. He agreed to help topple Saido's government. And topple it we did. Rain summoned a wave so fast, so powerful, that it crushed the capital. Saido's fascist rulers were swept away. My people are finally free. They can chart their own course, needing only to follow their own desires. Their lives are now blessed by anarchy.
While I feel that most people that have a nihilistic view of the world feels that life, and therefore anything and everything that that person views as sacred or derives joy from, they find that meaningless, except for when it comes to their own life. You know, they want nihilism for other people, but not for themselves. However, Havik is sometimes shown to not have this perception. What I mean by this is, when Havik views the idea of chaos to mean random misfortune should happen to others, it actually pleases him when that chaos is also turned onto himself, especially the version of him from the first Mortal Kombat timeline.
Havik had given Cabal's new Black Dragon recruits a task: lure the heroes away from the Dragon King's corpse while he somehow retrieved the heart. And with it, Onaga's power to raise the dead. Apparently, Onaga's ancient army had only been invincible by means of constant resurrection during battles. The power to raise the dead would prove quite useful to the Black Dragon clan. Cabal slew Havik and took the Dragon King's heart for himself. Havik was most impressed.
And if Havik had his way, everyone, everywhere, would have no choice but to live in this sort of social anarchy.
Infused with the power of Blaze, the cleric of chaos, Havik, became chaos incarnate. His aura corrupted the stability of the realms, causing them to rip, tear, and reshape in grotesque ways. Soon, nothing remained that resembled the former universe. Havik's dream had been realized. Ultimate chaos had been achieved.
Though the Titan version of Havik seemed to be a little bit hypocritical when it came to this, because while he was okay with interrupting the structure and plans of other people, he was furious when the same thing happened to himself.
Your warriors are adept at creating chaos. So good of you to approve. Approve? You dared to throw my plans into disarray!
The only chaos you revere is yours. You are no zealot. You are a hypocrite.
If Havik could be compared to another fictional character, the closest fit would be the Joker from DC Comics. In fact, when the Joker was a guest character in Mortal Kombat, he found teaming up with Havik to be a perfect fit. Though, I wonder if this were to actually play out, would one double-cross the other because of their shared views of chaos? Wouldn't them being a team be a structure that neither one would really agree with? I don't know, but it's fun to consider.
This was my dream vacation. I saw mayhem, mutilation. It was all a gas. For a while. But these nincompoops, they didn't really get me. Not even that pretty boy, Ninja Mime. Good night, sweet prince. I'd finished just about everyone worth finishing in Earthrealm and Outworld, even lovable old Netherrealm. I was a lonely heart in search of new friends. but as luck would have it, I had just the gizmo to find them. And oh, the hourglass spoiled me. Havik and I are going to be bosom buddies. And what's that? My new pal knows an entire realm devoted to law and order, and he exists solely to disrupt it. Well, I say, he and I need to get busy. Meet the League of Misunderstood Maniacs. We're giving Order Realm an enema. And when we're done, who knows where we'll crash next? Maybe we'll come to your house and slip live grenades under your pillow. Maybe we'll gut your favorite pet. Or maybe we'll just break your TV right now.
Havik has weird powers where he's able to harm himself while fighting in order to gain an advantage. So he does stuff like ripping off his head in order to slap you upside your own. The Titan version of Havik is even able to rip off portions of his body to create mindless minions that he can command, then instantly heal himself. I've seen people online state that it doesn't make sense that Havik could even be defeated then, because how can you beat someone who harms themselves for fun? At first, I thought they were mistaken. I thought that his powers worked only if he harmed himself. I mean, that would fit his views of chaos. So for example, lots of people say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But that's actually not true. First of all, doing things and expecting a different result is not insanity. We do this daily. Everyone does. If we have a bad day, we go about our same routine and we hope for a better outcome the next day. What is closer to what one might deem as insanity is violating what's called the pleasure principle. The pleasure principle has two laws, which are to seek pleasure and avoid pain. To do anything in opposition to these is an indicator of what might be considered insanity. I say that because insanity is a lot more nuanced than just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Insanity is a legal and a medical term that refers to severe mental illness that impairs someone's ability to understand their actions. They can't really distinguish right from wrong, and they have difficulty conforming to behaviors that will align with the law. Anyway, that's just a pet peeve of mine. Internet, please, for the love of the elder gods, stop saying that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It's rubbish. With that being said, my theory of Havik being able to heal himself only after he harmed himself would be a direct contradiction to the pleasure principle and would make a lot of sense for this kind of character. However, in Mortal Kombat 1, there are scenes where others have hurt Havik and then he was still able to heal. So we're right back where we started. It doesn't make sense. But coming to that conclusion made me realize that's exactly what Havik is. His powers are the definition of chaotic. They are behaviors so unpredictable as to appear as random. Sometimes Havik can heal from being harmed, and other times he simply can't. Trying to define his powers would be to set a rule onto how those abilities work, and that wouldn't line up with Havik's view of chaos. Does the randomness of Havik's powers properly represent his chaotic views, or are these just an oversight of the developer not being consistent when writing for Havik? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, you can
Acknowledge me
by hitting the like button. This helps videos like this get to viewers like you, and it is very much appreciated. You can hit confirm that by hitting the subscribe button to join
millions
of Shinfitz subscribers. If you want to know which version of Shao Kahn is the best, that video is on screen now. But more importantly than anything else, don't get beat up out there.